"Father above, we ask that you might defend our people from the savages of the lands to the west," uttered Septon Hugor. He stood atop the great altar of the Sept. "To the warrior, we ask that you give our men courage and strength in their sword arms for the challenges and battles to come." Enger tightened his grasp around the hilt of his sword, filled with pride and excitement. "To the smith, we ask that you keep our ships safe on their passage across the sea, and we ask that the crone lights our way to the new lands," again uttered the Septon. Enger rose and began to confidently make his way to the altar, to stand above the many knights, lords, men, women and children who had gathered here at his request. "Thank you for your blessing to the gods, dear Septon," said Enger. "Now it is time you packed your things and prepared for our departure to the new worlds that await us across the narrow sea." Enger looked around the great sept of his hometown. He could see his twin sister and younger brother looking on, full of pride. He could see his fellow knights he'd grew up with from childhood. Sir Stefan, Sir Danes and Sir Criston. They were brothers in arms, they had earned their knighthoods together. He could see the many rival petty lords from all the nearby villages and towns, all gathered here putting aside their generations of differences and grievances to unite under one common goal. "Brothers, sisters, we gather here today for the start of a new age for our people," he shouted. "We all know of the successes many of our people have had in the West, claiming lands and carving out new rich kingdoms for themselves over the last few hundred years. But as our culture spreads in the West, our very home and freedom is disappearing before our eyes," he said with sadness in his voice. "The Dragon Lord's influence spreads. Most of the once mighty kingdoms of Andalos have now fallen and been enslaved. We will be next, mark my words." He looked around, all eyes were focused on him. "I do not mean to be a slave, and I do not mean to be burnt alive. The time has come. It is our turn to cross the narrow sea, to the new world. We will not go to bow before our brothers, who have already taken lands though," he stated. "We will carve out our own lands and kingdoms, in the untouched lands of the north. We will take revenge on the savage wolf king who sailed to our lands and butchered our people. We'll kill his savage heathens, cut down their sacred trees, burning their false gods." Loud cheers began to passionately burst out all around the sept, echoing off the 7 stout towers. "Come with me, brothers, and take these lands and allow our people and our faith to live on. They will sing songs of our bravery and of our accomplishments for generations. We will do what they said could not be done. We will tame the frozen wasteland. We will be the Knights of the North." The sept erupted to chants of "Enger! Enger! Enger!" Later that very day, over 100 Andal longships carrying over 10,000 men, women, children and all their belongings left behind the coast of Andalos, which had been their home for so long, to start a new life in the frozen lands of northern Westeros. Enger stood at the prow of his ship smiling. "I will be remembered as the knight who did what no other could do."